Okay. So good evening all. थँक यू तुम्ही जॉईन केल्याबद्दल. आज जागतिक पर्यावरण दिन 5 जून या दिनानिमित्त आमच्या सोसायटीने म्हणजेच एनसीएसने एक वेबिनार आयोजित केला आहे, प्रोटेक्टेड एरियाज इन नाशिक. त्याला तुम्ही सगळ्यांनी उपस्थिती दर्शवल्याबद्दल खूप खूप आभार. मी पूजा कोठुळे. मी एनसीएसएन मध्ये गेल्या 3 वर्षापासून ॲज अ फील्ड ऑफिसर म्हणून काम करते. वेबिनार सुरू करण्याआधी मी तुम्हाला एनसीएसएन विषयी थोडक्यात माहिती सांगते. एनसीएसएन म्हणजेच नेचर कन्झर्वेशन सोसायटी ऑफ नाशिक ही श्री विश्वरूप रहा यांनी 1996 मध्ये सुरू केलेली निसर्ग संवर्धन म्हणून एक संस्था आहे. तेव्हापासून तर आजपर्यंत आम्ही अविरत निसर्ग संवर्धनाचे काम करतो आणि इथून पुढेही काम चालू असणार आहे. आमचं काम असं आहे की निसर्ग संवर्धन आम्ही काम करतो. शिवाय आम्ही अवेअरनेस सुद्धा क्रिएट करत असतो वेगवेगळ्या भागात जाऊन, वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणी जाऊन. आम्ही शहरातल्या आणि प्लस ट्रॅव्हल एरिया स्कूलमध्ये जाऊन विविध नेचर क्लब स्थापन केले आहे. तिथे आम्ही निसर्ग संवर्धनासाठी विद्यार्थ्यांना प्रोत्साहन करत असतो. आमचं वन विभागासोबत सुद्धा एक म्हणजे प्रोजेक्टवर आम्ही काम करत असतो. सध्या आमचा एक वल्चर सेफ झोन म्हणून प्रोजेक्ट सुरू आहे वन विभागासोबत. प्लस आमचे न्यूजलेटर सुद्धा दर महिन्याला प्रसिद्ध होत असतात. शिवाय आम्ही रिसर्च वर्कही करत असतो आणि प्रत्येक वेळेस न्यूजलेटरमध्ये आम्ही निसर्गाविषयी आर्टिकल्स छापत असतो. आजच्या आपल्या स्पीकर आहेत मिस प्रतीक्षा कोठुळे. त्यांनी MSc इन बायोडायव्हर्सिटी अँड कन्झर्वेशन पुणे विद्यापीठातून केली आहे. त्या एनसीएसएन मध्ये ॲज अ प्रोजेक्ट कोऑर्डिनेटर आणि वाईल्ड लाईफ रिसर्चर म्हणून काम करत असतात. तर मी त्यांना विनंती करते की त्यांनी सेशन पुढे चालू करावं. थँक्यू.
थँक्यू पूजा. मी स्क्रीन शेअर करते मग. स्क्रीन विजिबल आहे का? पूजा? स्क्रीन विजिबल होती पूजा?
हो ताई, विजिबल आहे.
ओके, बरं. म्हणजे बिफोर आय स्टार्ट किंवा मग सुरू करायच्या अगोदर मला हे विचारायचं आहे की कोणती लँग्वेज कम्फर्टेबल असेल. शुड आय कंटिन्यू इन मराठी और इंग्लिश विल बी द सुटेबल लँग्वेज. You can, if anyone is not comfortable with Marathi, they can write in the chat box. We'll continue in English. ओके, तर मी मराठीतच सुरू करते. ज्यांना ओके. So people are requesting that we should continue it in English. I'll add a little Marathi and Hindi in between, but mainly I'll keep my presentation in English. And if anyone has any problem, you can write in the chat box. Pooja, I request you to keep checking the chat box in between, so that if there is any problem at anyone's end, whether my voice is not clear, whether the screen is not clear, they can write in the chat box. Okay, so today is a very important day. It's an Environment Day, and a lot of people are celebrating. It is celebrated worldwide, and this year's theme is ecosystem restoration. So what is an ecosystem? Ecosystem is a place where a lot of species come together and they survive with depending on each other. And we have beautiful biodiversity, variety of biodiversity in and around Nasik. There are beautiful landscapes, and the entire area is is placed very uniquely. And that is why not many of us know that we have one wildlife sanctuary, 3 conservation reserves, and 3 important bird areas. That means we in all have around 6 to 7 protected areas in and around Nasik. We generally think about protected area as a national park. We go to Tadoba or Corbett, or even outside India, we go to Africa for safaris or just to see wildlife. But there is so much of wildlife present in and around us. And that is the reason why we need to just keep observing, keep looking, and also help in conserving the biodiversity that lives among us. Before I go into the wildlife or the protected areas, let's understand that we have a unique biogeography. That means the way we are placed on the map or the geography of our area is very unique because, and also very, very important. You know, we have 2 important biogeographic zones. One is Western Ghats and other is Deccan Plateau. Okay. So we all know that Nashik lies in the northern part of Maharashtra state, and it's surrounded by lush mountains. And the area is blessed with pleasant climate throughout the year, and we have monsoon rainy season during June to September. And we all know that we have a lot of water abundant, and we are also agricultural prone city or a district. And the reason behind that is our biogeography, because we have the world famous one of the hottest biodiversity hotspot, that is Western Ghats, which lies in our district. Okay, it crosses from the western portion of, from the north to south, the western portion of our district has the Western Ghat region, and that Ghat actually is the origin of a lot of rivers, important rivers like Godavari, Daman, Ganga, Vaitarna, Kashyapi. And these rivers actually help us to keep our water in check, and that also helps us to be agriculturally more developed. And if we move towards the eastern side, so the western side has the Western Ghat, but the eastern side we have a huge patch of Deccan Plateau, another very important biogeographic zone of our country. And the entire Deccan Plateau is open, fertile, and cultivated. So here you can see this is a unique. This is a picture of the Deccan Plateau, which actually is the volcanic formation, and it mainly consists of rock called as basalt. And after the basalt rock actually integrates into the black soil, and which is favorable for agriculture. So we have water and we have good soil, and that is the main reason why we are developing and why we are so blessed with the nature and the surrounding. Nasik. So if you just take an example of the bird species, because birds are they are the indicators of good environment, and we have around 350 species of birds in all habitats. So we have 3 main habitats. We have forest, grassland, and wetland. And we have 2 forest divisions. So one is East Forest Division and one is West. And we have around 3,400 square kilometer area, which comes under the forest section. And there are certain area is demarcated as the protected area. And there's one more unique feature about Nasik is that if we travel across the district, we have a lot of elevation variation. The altitude keeps on changing, and that is why we have so much of variety or so much of diversity. This is the map of Nasik. I got it from Words of Nasik District book written by Shri Vishwarup Raha. Okay, this entire map you can actually see that the western side. Okay, this is the western side. We are surrounded by various districts around Nasik, and the western side. Okay, this actually connects with Gujarat, and the Western Ghat starts from the southern Gujarat and goes up to Kerala. So this particular patch is actually part of the Western Ghat, and starting from Surgana, Pet, Harsul, Igatpuri. So this has a moist evergreen to evergreen forest patch, and lot of biodiversity is present in this area, and also main rivers of our city or district actually originates from here. Okay, like the second longest river in our country is Godavari, and which originates from Trambakeshwar, and is also called as Dakshin Ganga. And so this is the lifeline of Nasik, which flows along the Nasik and eventually goes to Bay of Bengal. We have only one protected area in this region, and that is worrisome because this area has such a dense forest and very good biodiversity, and we only have one protected area, that is Anjaneri Conservation Reserve. Then this is the Deccan Plateau region, and if we go around, we have a lot of good wetland patches and certain grassland patches. And I'll be talking about the protected areas in the coming slides, but this is how our biogeography is. So let's understand what is a protected area. Okay, the protected area has been defined by the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So the examples of protected areas are national park, conservation reserves, sanctuaries, community reserves. And we have once the wildlife sanctuary, we have 3 conservation reserves and 2 unique protected area, which is not recognized by Indian government, but it's recognized internationally. So I'll be talking about that in at the end of the presentation. But let's understand what is wildlife sanctuary. Wildlife sanctuary, so generally protected area is an area which is given protected status, okay, by law. Okay, and so it has very less human interaction, less to no human interaction, owning a land or collecting wildlife material or cutting down trees, mining is illegal inside there, depending on what category it belongs to. Okay, and wildlife sanctuary is an area which has ecological, faunal, floral, geomorphological, natural, zoological significance. And it has certain rights of people living inside the sanctuary. So people can live actually inside the sanctuary and they have certain rights. So the entire land is not owned by the government, but people have certain rights inside the sanctuary. And this is a very unique concept of conservation reserve or community reserve, where it is a protected area, but it typically acts as a buffer zone. It is not the core forest area, but a transit area or a buffer zone where it can connect two important national parks or sanctuaries. And the area, if the area is owned by the government, it comes into the conservation reserve category. But the community are the people staying around that area has right over the forest. So they can collect the forest resource and they can use for their benefit. But there are certain limits like cutting trees or that is illegal, but they can actually get wild vegetables or fruits which can be collected from the forest area. And the community reserve is the part where the land is not completely owned by the government. It's also owned by the Malki, or it comes under the Malki category. So this is a beautiful picture by Sangram Govardhane, and I got it from his page and of wildlife of our only wildlife sanctuary. So a lot of people consider Randur Bangleshwar as a bird sanctuary, but that is not true. It is not just a bird sanctuary; it is a wildlife sanctuary, and it was declared as a protected area in 1986 with the help of Bombay Natural History Society, World Wildlife Fund, and Forest Department. They came together, and around 240 species of birds, 400 species of vegetation, 24 species of fishes are found in this area. And it is a convergence of 2 main rivers, Godavari and Kadwa. So the water level keeps on fluctuating. This particular Nandur Bangleshwar dam is basically an irrigation dam, and the water is given out for agriculture purpose. So the water comes and water is released in different sections. That's why a lot of silt is collected, and that silt actually makes that area rich in biodiversity. So the birds actually get a lot of food resource in that area. So we get to see a lot of migratory birds coming. It's located in Nifad and it's also an important bird area. So what is an important bird area? I'll be explaining at the end. Nandur Madmeshwar was recently declared as Ramsar site. Ramsar site is an internationally known wetland which has international significance. So not only it's a protected area of our country, but it also has an internationally significance because a lot of migratory birds visit this area during the winter time, and it is the first Ramsar site of Maharashtra. So we all must be proud that Nasik has one of the internationally known wetland area. So anytime during the winter, if you go, you'll see flocks of birds. Birds which has a combination of resident and migratory birds. Birds come from different parts of the world like Russia, Mongolia, China, Europe, etc. And out of 240 species are migratory. Here are few migratory birds which I have combined. We recently, the area actually recently noted a very unique warbler. It was the first record in Maharashtra called as mustache warbler. Then we have different cranes. We have different ducks. Then this particular is called as blue throat. There's a spelling mistake here. Then we also have a white stork which comes from Europe. We have white wagtail which also comes from Europe. So a lot of different bird species, not only wetland birds, but we also get grassland birds and forest birds migrating from different parts of the world to this area. So like I said, this is not just a bird sanctuary. It consists a number of wildlife species like fishing cat, jungle cat, jackal, different kinds of insects, different kinds of amphibians, reptiles, and fishes. So that so next time you visit Nandur, not just you should not only look for the birds there, you should also look for different kind of insects, amphibians, mammals in that area. So the next protected area that we have is Borgarh Conservation Reserve. It is around 20 kilometers from the city. It is placed in Dindori region, right opposite Ramshes Fort. So the entire base of the mountain has good forest patch, and it was declared as a conservation reserve in 2008 by the Forest Department. So this particular area is an example of people coming together from different walks of life and conserving a particular land. Okay, this is a dry deciduous forest. Teak is the dominant species here. So in summer, you'll see most of the trees have shedded their leaves and it looks very dry. But again, it has a lot of biodiversity inside. Mahindra & Mahindra actually took initiative and planted around 150,000 trees here. And the villagers from that area actually helped in protection of the forest. So the original trees were protected and plus new trees were planted, the native trees, which has helped to grow in the biodiversity. So this is the picture taken from the top, where you can see all these trees with the flowers are teak trees which are blooming. They bloom in the monsoon season. So you can get an idea that this is a teak dominated forest, and Nasik teak has a lot of significance. British have also noted that Nasik teak is important and it was used for furniture and all. But it is also an important forest species, and cutting down of any kind of tree is illegal here. This is different flora and fauna, flora from the region. We have a lot of wildflowers. This is a endemic wildflower, endemic to Western Ghats. So this area, it belongs to Western Ghats. This is called as Ceropegia. It's a wildflower. It comes under the Schedule 1 species. So Wildlife Protection Act has different schedules depending on how rare the species is or how threatened. So this is a very threatened flora. Then we have flame of the forest. We have Mahua. Then this is a very important forest tree called as Pivas. And again, this is an important forest tree called as Varas. Varas it has unique features and a unique characteristic. Means that this is a deciduous tree, but this deciduous tree will not shed the leaves in summer like many other trees, but it will shed its leaves in the monsoon season. So in the summer season, it has leaves, and a lot of birds come to refuge, and they. So this is a very important forest tree. These are curtoli flowers. So it's a wild vegetable, and these are the flowers of that wild vegetable called as curtoli. So there are three different carvi which are found at Borgad. And you all must be knowing that carvi, they bloom only after 7 years. So the entire slope of the mountain looks purple in color when purple or pink in color when it's blooming. And it's a very good nectar source for birds and insects. You can see there's honeycomb which has been formed. So honeybees have immediately gathered and they are collecting the honey from the flowers. So these are certain different kinds of fauna found at Borgad. You can see different insects, reptiles. So these are the kittens of jungle cat. This is a monitor lizard. So we have around 6 feet long monitor lizards. Also leopards, wild boars, hyenas. They are also the part of the forest there. Different kind of forest birds can be seen. These are resident birds. So one thing that I have noticed is that forest birds are very colorful, unlike the grassland and the wetland birds, because they have a good area to hide. And the males are mainly more colorful because they need to attract the female. Yes. And these are certain breeding birds which are mainly seen in the monsoon season. Few of them are resident, few of them are migratory. You can see the dusky crag martin has built a nest on the rock, on the slope of the side of the rock. We can see them collecting the nesting material. So they collect the wet mud. So this is a blackbird nest. So blackbird is a bird which comes from South India every monsoon and builds nest at Borgad, and also seen in other parts of the forest areas in Nasik. So this is a robin which has laid eggs inside the pothole. Then grey-billed cuckoo can be heard singing throughout the monsoon season. Nightjars, they don't build a nest, they directly lay the egg on the ground. It's the red-vented bulbul nest. We see peafowl courtship displays in the monsoon season, where the male peafowl will actually spread the wings and try to attract the peahens. And we can see it has attracted two peahens, and this young juvenile male observing the entire act. There are certain openings in the forest, and there you can actually see various phenomenon happening during the monsoon season, especially. So the next conservation reserve or the next protected area that we have in Nasik is Anjaneyari. Anjaneyari is a holy mountain. We all know the importance because it's also called as the birthplace of Hanuman. But it is a very, very important area as biodiversity is concerned. It was declared as a conservation reserve in 2015. It's around 30 kilometers from the city, comes under the Western Ghat patch, and it's mainly declared as a conservation reserve to protect the critically endangered Indian vulture species. So these mountains have this vertical cliffs, and these vertical cliffs have naturally made holes. Okay, because of the weathering, these holes are created. They are around 6 feet deep inside. So these birds are seen on those nests throughout the year, but only during the nesting season, which starts from December and lasts till March. We can see them collecting nesting material and building a nest, and then laying the egg, incubation. All these different activities can be seen. And so this entire mountain holds up to 200 Indian vulture. So one of the largest Indian vulture population in India can be seen at Anjaneri. And this entire area was under threat last year, as we all must be knowing that there was a road that was constructed, that was to be constructed till the top. The thing is not entirely scrapped, but we need all of you to raise voice against that particular road. Also, the mining is happening now at Brahmagiri and Anjaneri. So a lot of campaigns are going on, so you all can participate and raise voice against it. Anjaneri also has unique flora. So if we climb on the top, there's an entire plateau has a lot of different species of wildflowers, and one of them is a very, very unique and endemic. So only found at Anjaneri and nowhere else in the world. It's called as Ceropegia anjanerica. It is a wildflower, very tiny, very difficult to locate, but it's only found on Anjaneri and nowhere else in the world. Along with that, there are multiple varieties of wildflowers. So this is again an endemic wildflower to Konkan area or the Western Ghats. Is called as Pinda konkanensis. This is Sonki flowers where entire belts of Sonki can be seen. So our state bird of Maharashtra, yellow-footed green pigeon, can be seen in the forest patches of Anjaneri and areas along the Western Ghat region that comes in Nasik. This is a small video. I don't know whether you can see it. We have a lot of bird diversity in the area. A lot of Western Ghat endemic birds can be seen in and around Anjaneri. We have bigger sunbird, we have orange minuet, we have Indian yellow-tilled, which are mainly seen in the Western Ghats. Also the white-chinked barbet. So these birds can't be seen in other forest patches of Nasik. So these birds can be seen at Borgad or Chammarleni side or Pandavleni side, because these are endemic to Western Ghats and only they require that dense evergreen forest patches. Now coming to the third conservation reserve of Nasik is called as Rajapur Mamtapur. It's actually quite far from the district city area. It's around 127 kilometers, but comes under the Nasik district region. So it's a huge patch of 544 hectares, and it was declared as a conservation reserve in 2014. So it is actually a grassland patch. And we all must be very proud of our forest department for actually considering a grassland patch to be declared as a protected area, because grasslands are in major threats. Mainly people are converting grassland into agricultural lands. They are treated as wastelands. And we are losing our precious grassland ecosystem because of that. We get to see a huge number of black bucks in the region. So this is a male black buck. So they come into the antelope category. These are the females. You can see huge herds of them can be seen at the area, and it's a must visit place. So any of one of you have not visited must go. Forest department has made nice arrangement for the tourists. We also see other wildlife. This is the Indian fox. Very rare tree. So this is a Palash tree, but flame of the forest, but a yellow color variety which can be seen at Rajapur Mamtapur. So like I said, like forest birds are very colorful, but grassland birds, they have their unique colors, but they blend more with the surrounding. So they are mainly ochre in color. So this is a ashy crown sparrowlark. This is a rufous-tailed lark. This is a pipit species called as paddy-filled pipit. This is Indian courser, also Marathi, it's called as dhavi. So mainly grassland birds, they don't require trees. They actually can't perch on trees. And they also lay their eggs on the ground. So if you take them and place them in forest, they won't survive because what they require for nesting or feeding or perching is present in the grassland areas only. So these were the protected areas declared by the Indian government, but there are two more areas which have international significance because of the bird life present in that. Okay, and they are known as important bird areas. So birds are the excellent indicators of ecosystem, and there is a organization called as BirdLife International. It is a UK-based organization, and it has been declaring certain patches of areas which are high in bird diversity as important bird areas. Okay, and they have protection globally. And the reason why they are declared as IB is because they hold significant number of one or more globally threatened bird species. So whether it is restricted to a range or it's restricted to an entire area, and they have exceptional large numbers of migratory birds visiting in that region. So, and it can be anything, not necessarily only wetland. It can be a microhabitat. It can be a grassland, scrubland, which has excellent biodiversity and good bird life. So one of them is Gangapur Dam and grasslands. So it comes under the IBA category A1, A4, and A43. The document is available on Google. One can read it. The entire map is drawn and what species can be found at Gangapur Dam is recorded. So this is a huge flock of flamingos. So generally, when the water level is low, the flamingos, they require algae as their food, and they come down. So on their way back to Kutch, so Mumbai has good population of flamingos. So on the way back to Kutch, they stop over. So you can see around huge, around 200, 300 individual flamingos at Gangapur Dam. And apart from that, there are many other migratory species which can be seen. There's also one of the rare bird called as Lesser Florican. It's highly critically endangered bird, also was recorded from this area. It's the flying shot of the flamingos. So the grassland adjoining the dam is actually a breeding ground for many birds, resident birds. One of them is yellow water lapwing, again a very rare grassland bird. The numbers of these birds are reducing because of a lot of disturbance. These birds, they do not lay, they directly lay their eggs on the ground, and the eggs are camouflaging with the surrounding. So entire life cycle can be seen here. Another protected area or IBA that we have in Nasik is Ozar and adjoining grasslands. So Ozar, mainly the HAL, Hindustan Aeronautical Limited campus, has good grassland patch. And once upon a time, there were around 14 Great Indian bustards and wolves and Lesser Florican surviving inside that HAL campus. And there was a project conducted on these wolves, and they were named as Ajay and Kajol by Vishwarup Raha, and Wildlife Institute of India had radio collared the wolves. There's a very interesting story behind it. We can have that particular session sometime later. But unfortunately, the areas around that HAL got disturbed. A lot of agriculture started. The habitats were destroyed, and we lost all 14 Great Indian bustards from that area. The last they were recorded in 2005, and after that there is no record. So they are locally extinct, but there are still a few sightings of Lesser Florican from that region. So yes, so another grassland that we don't know about, but it's very important. It's a microhabitat, so it has a runway of 10 kilometers, and both sides of the runway is a very good grassland, and there the Great Indian bustards used to survive, and they're not seen anymore. We have a lot of threats for wildlife despite of these protected areas. A lot of tree cutting goes on. garbage is dumped in the forest area. We have forest fires. Mainly the forest fires are put on purpose. Road constructions, then road kills. Because of road construction, we have road kills. The population of humans is increasing, and that's why the habitat of many wildlife species is getting destroyed. We have forest fires, ramp burning, then this is desilting happening at Gangapur Dam. So imagine the birds that prefer nesting here have lost their habitat because of the desilting that goes on. So then we have killing of birds. Even though the area is protected or the non-protected areas, we have seen the number of hunting has increased in the lockdown period because the children are at home, they are not going to school, and they have a lot of free time. So if any one of you see any such thing happening around you, immediately you should call forest department or also inform us. The forest department has a helpline number called as it's known as 1926. You can note it down and you can call them. So if you find any illegal thing happening around you, it must be reported. So we have certain records of very rare species outside the protected area. That means that protected wildlife also survives outside protected areas, and that needs to also be conserved. So there was a discovery of forest owlet, very rare bird. It's endemic to central India. So it's only found in central India, nowhere else in the world, and it was considered as extinct for around 100 years and rediscovered in 1997. And we saw forest owlet, mainly Sri Vishwarup Raha, who discovered it in Nasik for the first time in December 2016. So, and the other recent discovery was to see Indian grey wolves in Nasik after 11 years. This is again outside the protected area where they actually coexist with the humans. You can see them crossing the village road. These are the den sites, these are the habitats, and they are surviving there. So what I mean to say here is that there's wildlife everywhere despite the protected area, but good that we have certain protected areas which are conserving the precious biodiversity that survives. And also there are certain areas which needs to be taken under the protected area status. This is a page where which says that everyone, not only scientists, not only a person who has a wildlife degree, can actually contribute in conservation or awareness. We have certain citizen science websites in India where, or internationally known, where you can actually start posting your sightings. Okay, the social media posts are not very effective because not it can't be considered into the scientific data analysis. But if you post in citizen science websites like eBird or India Biodiversity Portal, iNaturalist, you can actually contribute to science by just looking around what is there. So if you go in your garden and if you see a toad species, or if you see a butterfly, just click a picture, post it on these websites, and it can actually help in deciding the geographical range of that species or the population, etc. You can also write for newsletters, newspapers. You can have certain awareness posts on social media, which can actually help people around us be more aware of the wildlife that is seen around us. Okay, that was my presentation. Stop sharing. If you have any question or anything that needs to be added, you can say now. I've been studying biodiversity around Nasik for past 7 years, so my knowledge is not very deep. This is what I have seen so far. There's so much to explore. I may have made mistakes, but if you want to add anything, go ahead. Thank you, Uday sir, for appreciating. Okay, I'll just check the questions in the chat box. Can we have vulture restaurant near Engineering? So we have one vulture restaurant near Harsul, and if we just see the flying distance from Engineering to Harsul is very less. So it won't be much of a sense if we have vulture restaurant around Engineering. But vulture restaurants needs to be, if we have multiple vulture restaurants in different directions, that will be more helpful, so that they don't depend on only one area. They can keep looking for food in different directions, because vultures can travel up to 100 kilometers in search of food in any direction. Okay, what is a vulture restaurant? So like I said, vultures are critically endangered birds. Their population drastically declined in around 2000, year 2000. 97% of the population was declined. The main reason was a drug called as diclofenac, which was used to treat cattle. Later, that drug was banned, but now the population is slowly increasing. So vultures, they mainly feed on dead animals. So this vulture restaurant is not a fancy thing. It is a simple area which has enclosed borders, and the cattle carcasses are dumped there. So the nearby villagers, if there is a death of a cattle, they'll come and dump their cattle there so that the vultures can come and feed. And it's enclosed so that no other scavengers can come inside, like dogs or hyenas, etc. Is it a place to dump carcasses? Yes. What does the drug do? Okay. The diclofenac actually causes a very painful death to the vultures. There's a disease called as gout, and they can't excrete. So if the drug goes inside the vulture's body, they get this disease called as gout and they die. I have seen vultures at Harrier Fort in 2017. Yes. So like I said, not only Anjaneri, but mountains around Anjaneri like Brahmagiri, Harrier, Wood, Pasgad, the mountains that have vertical cliffs have nests of Indian vultures. And there's another vulture seen in Nasik called as white-backed vulture. They nest on trees. What is harmful to the bird's health? I didn't get your question. Suchitra ma'am, can you elaborate your question? Is there any general reading material on Nasik biodiversity and its dependent ecosystem? There are certain you can unmute yourself and ask question if you want to. And Abhishek sir, we have a lot of books on birds. Okay, one of the book is called as Birds of Nasik District by Shri Vishwarup Raha. There is book on Nandur Madmeshwar by Satish Gopte sir. These I know, and actually there's very less published document available for Nasik biodiversity. So more people should come in, write articles, write or conduct research, do publications, and also write books on the biodiversity around Nasik. Shamik, you can unmute yourself and ask questions.
Ma'am, the wolf population in Nashik is very low, right? Like they're
Wolf.
critically endangered.
Yes.
So, ma'am, in order to like, there are some projects called as captive breeding. So they breed the animal in the captivity and then release the animal by making a suitable habitat for it so that it doesn't die, and then slowly releasing the animal in the wild.
Right.
So, is there anything like that going on for not only wolves but other critically endangered animals?
Yeah, so yes, this is a concept of, there is a concept of captive breeding. So we have captive breeding centers in India. There are around 8 captive breeding centers for vultures. Then recently there was a breeding center for Great Indian Bustard. It is in Rajasthan, Jaisalmer. But I am not aware of breeding center for mammals in India for now. But like you said, if we start losing them because it's a Schedule 1 species and the wolves are actually more rare than tigers. Tigers, they restrict themselves to the protected area, but wolves, they need to travel. They don't stay in one particular area, and saving them is more critical or very difficult. And probably in future, if forest department gets a lot of funds, or people, scientists get foreign funds for captive centers for wolves or any critical animals, then it will be great. Or it can actually help saving them from extinction.
Where is your vulture restaurant?
So the vulture restaurant is near Harsool. Okay. There's a village called as Poripada. There is a vulture restaurant.
Can you go there to see the vultures?
So we actually go there to collect carcass samples because we are working on this project called as declaring Nasik as vulture safe zone. So the next time we go, we can inform you so you can come along. Yes, captive breeding is practiced for Great Indian Bustard. There's only one center in Rajasthan, Jaisalmer, where 75% of GIB population is present right now. So protecting the grasslands of Nashik is important because it used to be a habitat for Great Indian Bustards. So if because of this captive breeding, the population is rising, then this can be, so the GIB can again choose it as their habitat and we can again start seeing them. So protecting the remaining grassland in and around Nasik is very important. Are there forest rest houses and guide facility? So forest rest houses are there, and I think only the forest department have the access to it. But you can get guide facility for Rajapur, Mumtapur, or Anjaneri, and also Nandur Madmeshwar. So if you go there, you can get a guide. And you can also contact us. We have certain guide details, so we can share that with you. Any more questions or anything that you need to add?
I have one question.
Yes.
Ma'am, while going in the wild, while doing wildlife photography or herping or anything, we sometimes see birds feeding their chicks and sometimes animals feeding their babies and stuff. So many people say it is wrong and don't do it. So it is. So is it illegal filming or shooting this? Because many people are against it and they're a little angry about this.
Okay. So there are certain rules in our Wildlife Protection Act. Okay. Like baiting animals is illegal. Okay. So playing calls is a type of baiting. Hunting birds is illegal. So if there are certain photographers, they play bird calls, try to attract the birds just to get a good photograph. So it comes into the illegal category. So if there are forest department people around that area, the person can be in jail or should or will have to pay a fine. But so there is a term called as ethical birding or ethical wildlife photography. Okay, so we all should know our boundaries, because everyone here is a nature lover, and we should always put nature first and then everything else. So if we want a photograph, we just if we know that whether we are disturbing it or no. Okay, so we should always maintain a distance, make sure that we are not disturbing it. And if it's nesting, so it's better not to click nest pictures, because by mistake, if we put a flash or some other noise, that can disturb or that can harm the nestling. And also the adults may abandon their nest, and they have to again go through the entire process again. So there's a term called as ethical photography or ethical wildlife birding or wildlifing. So we all should follow that. Have I answered your question?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for appreciating today's presentation. It was made in a very short time, but I just wanted to make people aware that we have so much of wildlife around us in Nashik. We have 6 protected areas. So observing them and and also recording them or doing a scientific analysis is important. There's very less documentation available. So let's make Nashik wildlife popular in a good way. Let's spread more awareness so that whatever we have will stay forever and we'll not lose any more species like Great Indian Bustard. So the session is recorded. If I will be posting it on our YouTube channel, so you can go through it again. So, and we also have the WhatsApp group active till tomorrow. We'll dissolve it to later. But then, if you have any questions or if you want to share anything, your experiences, you can share it on the WhatsApp group. All right. So, thank you, everyone.
I have another.